What is up YouTube? My name is Sam and I work under the artist name of Kaiyo. This is actually a video that I've been wanting to make for a little while. I did sort of a soft launch in the video that I released last week. You guys seem pretty interested to see a video about this. And what I'm talking about here is something that has increased my productivity, my creativity, really helped me not only with writing songs, but speeding up my workflow and writing songs faster and just easier. Obviously, I'm talking about templates, being your own template in FL Studio or whatever DAW you work in. This is something that has helped me massively recently. Spent a bit of time really honing mine and refining it so that it works perfectly for the way that I write music right now. So let's jump into FL Studio and I'll show you my template, benefits that I see of using this. Okay, so whenever I load up FL Studio, this is what I see. There's a fair bit going on. We've got all of my instruments already laid out in the playlist here and we've color coded it. So we've got a master channel, a drone, then my kind of main instruments here in purple, then bass, got my drums there, really simple, kept it simple on purpose, but my drums there in the light blue, couple of transitions and then some effects playlist channels. Now there's only 20 channels here. I usually end up with closer to 30 in a finished project. This leaves me tons of space to add in extras and I wanted my template to start simple so that I could add to it. That way it didn't feel overwhelming. So this always leaves me with a good place to start. Talking about starting my projects, I have my channel rack here set up with my go-to instruments to start any track. We've got a drone, we've got a piano, a guitar, and then a bass. Now this is probably the most important thing for setting up my template, because what this allows me to do, jump into any project, any brand new project, grab the instrument, it's already set up with the settings that I like it. It's already routed to a mixer channel, but we'll talk about that in a minute. It's just ready to go. It's plug and play essentially. So I can grab my piano here and just stick some chords in. And just like that, ready to go. Super simple. I can then take that piano, stick it in the piano section of my playlist and just build it out. It really helps me with my workflows. So let's take a look at the mixer and I'll break down exactly how I set this up, why I set this up, how I find that useful, and I'll kind of show you as we go. So this is how my mixer looks when I jump into my template. You can see I've got all of the colors there that are matching the colors in my playlist. So we've got the master there in orange, same as here, and then drones, pianos, basses, drums, everything's there. The 4 instruments that I've already got are already loaded onto the correct mixer tracks. So I've got my piano here, which is routed to mixer track 4. That is already sidechained and routed to where it needs to go. So it's just about speeding up your workflows. If there is things that you do every single time in a song, or even 90% of the time, then use your template to do that for you. Don't spend every single time adding that EQ. Don't spend every single time routing your mixer tracks where they need to go. If it's a standard process for you, why not speed yourself up? There's also a couple of extra bits that I've got here in my mixer, as you might notice. I've got here a kick pump channel. All that is a sidechain that is already sidechained to my kick, and then lots of my main instruments are already routed through that, so that as soon as I add my kick, it's already sidechaining the instruments that I want. It just gives me a way to jump into a track, immediately get started, rather than setting all these things up. It's just the most productive way to get started and jump into a track. Like I say, I've got this here, it's my kick sidechain. I've got my drone, which is pre-loaded into the channel rack already. I've got here a drone reverb. I'm getting a fully dry sound going through the kick sidechain, and then I'm getting a fully wet sound from the reverb, and that allows me to adjust the volume of the reverb. It allows me to EQ the reverb. I've even got here a little sidechain flux mini on the reverb. That way I can give the reverb some really interesting character. And these are just things that I was doing in every single track, so it just avoids me doing them every time I start a brand new track. I've got my main pianos here, so I've got 3 piano tracks in the mixer already routed where they need to go, and then I've got a piano reverb, again similar to the drone verb. What I would do is put a reverb on here, turn the wet up to 100% so that we're only getting a wet reverb sound through here, and then I can mix this separately from the main piano sound. I've got my bass sound, and this is already EQ'd. Again, this is something I would add. I've actually got an EQ template here, which is my bass roll off, and that's already applied to the bass, so that as soon as I load my bass in, which it already is, add my bass sound and get that really lush, warm bass sound, which I was spending time making every single time I was making a track. I was adding the same EQ, I was adding the same things all the time. So this has just saved me the time. You know, I've got a drum bus here, so all of my drums are routed to the drum bus, which means I can have a glue compressor already added to the drum bus, and then once I've got my drums in, I can just make little tweaks. And it's just these kind of things which I think are going to save you so much time. It's 1 click here, it's 2 clicks here. You know, if you're taking 2 hours, 3 hours a week to write a song, and you're saving time consistently throughout that process, you're actually going to end up saving so much time. I also think having a template set up like this gives you a starting point. It's really helped me with my creativity. Every time I load up FL Studio, I've got a project here that's saying, hey, add a drone, add a piano, add a guitar, add a bass, and you've already got a really lovely starting point, helping you with that creativity, which I'm just finding really useful at the moment. I will say this, you've absolutely got to set your template up how you need it to work. My template is not going to work for all of you guys. It might help you get some ideas for things to set up, but my mixer, my playlist is not going to work for everybody, but this works for me. Use this as an idea, use this as sort of like an ideas machine, but please do just make it so that it works for you, because what works for me might not work for you. Going back into my mixer, you know, we've got our drum section here. In FL Studio, you can add these separators into your mixer. So you can see here I've got my drum section, and that's really clearly defined, not only by the color, but by a little break in the mixer. To do that, you just right click where you want it, and then go down here and you can click separator. And what that will do is, rather than having them squished up against each other, you can have a little separator in there to really define the sections. So after my drums here, I've got 6 different guitar mixer states. And you can see those are all sidechained to the kick. I've got 3 here for guitar main melodies, and then I've got 3 here for different guitar ARP sounds. And then finish it off with a couple of transition sounds. And you'll notice that as I go through these, you'll see lots of these already have effects preloaded on. Most of them are currently in the default state. So if I open up, let's say this EQ, it's just in the default state. So it's not already EQing anything, but it just takes me, you know, 2 clicks to get a little high pass, low pass, and then I can just quickly EQ it. It's already there, it's already loaded, and it's that simple. So it's just about making your workflow as efficient as possible. And I think making your workflow more efficient is going to give you the flexibility to be more creative and write better songs, be more efficient with your writing, to allow you as an artist to be as creative as you can possibly be. And I actually think that creating a template that suits your needs is one of the best ways to do this. So yeah, this is how I've got my template set up. Probably took me half an hour, 45 minutes. I hope you found this video useful. This is something that for me has made such a difference. I think I set this template up maybe a month ago, and since then I've written I think about 6 or 7 songs. I will say that the template has absolutely helped me with that process. It's made my process so much more efficient. I just don't have to spend time thinking about those little things and those little actions that I was doing in every single project. Don't feel like you've got to copy mine. Don't feel like you've got to make your template as complex as mine. If you're just loading in 3-4 instruments and using that to start with, even that is going to make a massive difference to you as an artist. Do what works best for you. Just a little shout out, I've got a song that drops next week on all streaming platforms. It's the first fully independent release that I've put out since I think February of this year. I'll put a link in this video for the pre-save, and I'll put a little clip of the song right here. I think this is the best song that I've ever produced. Produced it with my template, but I think it's the best song I've ever produced. And if you like what you're hearing, please do hit that pre-save link. It helps me out as an independent artist. I'm not using any label, I'm not using anyone else, I'm doing everything myself. So please do go and listen to it. Hit that pre-save button. It's out next Friday, November 17th. The song is called Alone With You. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I hope this video has been helpful. Peace.